Cowboys right now. This is when the Dallas Cowboys are world champions in the offseason, when everything is Dallas right now, baby. They got rumors that they're going to move up to 2 to get Shedeur Sanders. Would that mean also that you might want to get rid of Kevin Stefanski and drop Dion in the building there for him to become the head coach there? Or Dallas again to hire Dion after a shot and high? I don't know. What would you do here? But it's Dallas. And then you have the Eagles. And Philly.500's name, we have changed it to Champ. We've got to say this. And by the way, how about this one here? Champs lost 12 dudes. 12 off that championship roster. How's he feeling? Without further ado, it is now the first installment of the 2025 Battle Royale between Mark Holmes and the Dallas Cowboys in Philly Champion 500 here on the Big Sill Show. Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Mark, your redemption draws near. Your redemption draws near. Oh, my gosh. Big things happening in Dallas. Oh, my gosh. If they trade Dak Prescott, it will be the most genius move I've seen Dallas make in years. Hopefully, that doesn't happen because the champ wants to continue to watch them lose. But, Mark, your redemption draws near. You should be so excited about this opportunity that you got to get a young franchise quarterback in Deion Sanders' kid. He's got feet like his father. He can move. I mean, you got to be feeling good right now. I'm kind of excited for you. The champ is a little excited for you. I hope it doesn't happen. I want Dak to be there so you continue to choke in the playoffs and lose. I think Xander's smoking, a little bit too much today. The Dallas Cowboys are going to have 11 wins. Is he crazy? It ain't going to happen. But, hey, I'm excited for Mark. I'm excited for you, buddy.
Mark, how are you,
Your
my
redemption
friend?
rolls near. The Cowboys' rapture is at hand.
Are ratings down or something? And so you're bringing in the Cowboys to pump up the ratings because that's what we're good for.
Well, no, I know. That's kind of really, in a way, Mark, Cowboy talk. It's not Cowboy wins. It's Cowboy talk that really kind of enhances ratings. So are you excited about the offseason in any way here?
Okay. You know what? As a Dallas Cowboys YouTuber, the great thing about it is there's never a lack of content. Honestly, there is more shit now to talk about than the shit sandwich that we had during the season of basically everybody being injured and just literally getting mollywopped by everybody. At least there's some hope, and at least there's some movement that's going on. And of course, everybody, if your channel is not doing good or nobody knows who the hell you are, all you got to do is talk about the Dallas Cowboys. You got to go out there and say the Cleveland.
The Eagles are champions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to address our buddy, the Chump. How you doing, Chump? You said to refer to you as Chump, right?
No, Champ.
I have dyslexia, so to me it looks like Chump.
I still, is somebody talking? Is somebody talking in here?
The Chump is
Somebody
here.
say something?
The Chump is here.
I don't hear. Well,
Mark, what about the rumor? What about the rumor Dak Prescott to Cleveland so you can get the 2 pick so you can get Shedeur Sanders in the building?
Very smart.
Yeah, Philly.500 sent me that with all the laughing emojis and stuff like that. So let me see if I got this straight, because this reminds me of Skip Bayless saying that Jerry Jones basically told him about the trade of Herschel Walker and consulted him, okay? So Bruce Drayden, who's a radio guy, not as famous as you, of course, Phil, not as famous as you, literally has 2,067 Twitter followers. You want to get some people to watch? The Cowboys are trading Dak
Hey,
Prescott.
Mark, I just got some insight right now from
I'm
people.
sorry, dude.
Oh, wait, get this.
Go ahead.
Hey, Philly, I just got seriously. I just got some people inside the Cleveland Browns organization who we happen to be friends with, and says that they're trying to trade Dak. They're trying to trade for Dak Prescott, and
Well,
they're
I'm
going
sure they are.
and they're going to cut Deshaun Watson.
Well, they have to. I mean, the reality is they screwed the pooch on that contract. They owe him about $170 million, and bringing him back for what? He tore his ACL. Tore his Achilles second time after, just getting it operated on 5 months ago. He's damaged goods. He's never going to mount anything. So why hold on to him? They restructured his contract so they can get rid of him. But you still have Dak Prescott with a no trade clause that's in it. And if you're Dak Prescott, you might want to get out of Dallas, but do you really want to go to freaking Cleveland?
I think they got a. I think they got a. I think they got a pretty good. I think they got a pretty decent roster, especially on defense. And here's the guy that I'm getting this from. Paul DiPotesta is saying this stuff, that there's truth to this, that the Browns are trying to trade for Dak and that the Cowboys are open to it because it's such a high pick to go to number 2. Now, I mean, I thought it was bullshit until I just got this email.
I didn't.
What about you, Philly? What about this move here? What would this mean?
I think it's it would be a very, very smart move by the Cowboys. You've got a 32-year-old quarterback that can't win in the playoffs. He's never going to win in Dallas. He's on a team that really, I mean, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys from an Eagles perspective, what have they done this offseason that scares you? Nothing. They haven't done anything as of right now. So I don't think they're really that much better. I mean, how great is their roster, right? Dak goes out and their whole team collapses. They got no running game. Who's scared of their running game? They got no passing game. Who's scared of their passing game? I don't think that Dak will ever win in Dallas. I'm just being honest. And I think if I'm Jerry Jones and I like a young kid like Sanders and I'm enamored by him and a young franchise quarterback, yeah, I think that's actually a really smart trade. I think you should sell Dak while you can, and he's got value, and get the young kid and rebuild that roster. Pay Micah the big money that you need to. I think if Dallas wants to win, they have a much better chance of winning in the future doing that than keeping Dak. And that's all honesty.
How about this, Mark? I'm gonna tweet out here.
Why would I do my homework on the Browns cap? Like, I give two shits. I just got to respond to Game Time. Why do I give shit
they're
about
cap hell,
the
or they
Browns
will
cap?
be.
Who
They
cares?
can't
Work
take
out.
on
I don't
Dak's
care.
contract.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem. All I'm saying.
Oh, no, it's not
all
your
I'm
problem.
saying-
It's the Cleveland
no,
Browns
all
problem.
I'm saying is that from the perspective of being smart and doing something right, who cares? I don't give a shit about the cap. Personally, I don't care what Dallas does. I think I'd rather them keep Dak. But from a football perspective, yeah, to me, that's a smart move.
How about this, though, Philly? Get this. You know how you do make that $60 million work? You trade Myles Garrett prior to the draft to a team, and you create cap space.
Help you, though. Shit, you
Yeah,
need
but
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett's not going to help you win in Cleveland.
I don't. To me,
it sounds great to talk about, but if I had $1 for every time I heard a rumor about Dak Prescott being traded or not re-signed, I could go into the club like Pac-Man Jones and make that motherfucker rain. Okay, it's not gonna happen. Okay,
great.
It's literally not. Okay,
thank God, Sills.
If I were Dak Prescott and I did consider going elsewhere, it wouldn't be going to Cleveland. It would be someplace that's ready to win right now. Yeah, and if I wanted to get the hell out of there, I wouldn't have signed the contract that I did. I would have stayed there and played on the last year of my deal and got out and picked the team that I wanted to go to.
Well, let me ask you if you're Dak Prescott, because I brought this up about one thing that Jalen Hurts has done here. The one thing that Jalen Hurts has done right now, he's put guys like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and the rest of these guys on notice in those organizations that if you're not going to win a championship, if I'm Dak Prescott, no matter what I'm going to make, no matter what the salary is, Mark, if I'm in no line to win a championship, and would we agree? You think Dallas is in the next 5 years, you think Dallas is going to win a world championship?
That depends on what the Joneses do. Now, they still sitting here $39 million. If they go through and start running the organization, if I want to say, oh, shut up, Philly. Shut up, bro.
Come on, man. You know the answer.
Well, here's the deal. You don't flip. Okay. If you're going to trade Dak Prescott, I hear what you're saying. You don't flip the trigger so you owe him more money. Why would you flip a trigger so that way when I trade him, it's going to be harder for me because I'm going to eat more money? You don't do that.
Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't plan on it. But when the
interesting thing is,
number two,
if you go by Bruce Drayden, he's saying that the reason Myles Garrett came back was because of the rumor that they were going to sign Dak Prescott. Okay, so you're talking about some time that's been going on. The Cowboys flipped that trigger right about that same time there, buddy. So it's not really adding up any way, shape, or form. That's great that you hear that the Browns.
I've literally never heard.
I'm sure the Browns
trade.
I'm sure the Browns are trying to find a quarterback because they know they don't have one right now. So of course they're going to turn over every stone.
I've never heard Dak in any trade rumors before. This is like literally.
Oh my God! Well, you don't listen to Cowboys media then, because good Lord.
There was talk about him, Philly, going to Pittsburgh.
Dak,
Pittsburgh, New York. It was if there's an opening, trade Dak. Trade Dak. I've been listening to trade Dak since a sophomore year.
Let me ask you this: would you trade Micah Parsons and trade for Dak Prescott? Because again, the $40 million you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. I could get draft choices back, and I could get another first-round pick for Micah, and I could also get the second pick in the draft. So I could get the second pick in the draft, okay, if I'm Dallas. I could get Shador, trade Micah, fill holes throughout the entire roster in the O-line, on the defense, in the linebacker, in the safety position. I mean, you could really do some damage here right now. This is what really all in is.
I hear what you're saying, but the Cowboys' problem isn't just Dak Prescott. The Cowboys' problem is they go cheap. They don't have the players in the surrounding cast. You can look at the Eagles and say Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback since Joe Montana, but a guy who only had to throw 18 touchdown passes and 2,900 yards, that says you got a great team. And when you got a running back that's rushing for 2,000 yards, you got a great offensive line, you got a really good tight end and two wide receivers, and a defense that's full of thugs, you're in great shape. We ain't got none of that shit. We got one receiver.
Why keep Dak?
Why keep Dak at 60?
Hey, because he moves the needle and keeps you relevant in the headlines.
What needle?
I want to roll the win.
Listen, I'm not the one running the organization. You want to know what they're doing? The needle.
What needle's he moving?
The needle, literally everybody. We're sitting here talking about trading Dak to Cleveland.
Well, because that's what the news is right now. If
that's
it was
what the news
trade
is
for somebody else,
got
we would
Dak
be talking
Prescott
about it.
there in the Dallas Cowboys organization.
Nobody
he is the gift that keeps
Dak.
on giving. Whether it's the
never
$60
given
million.
anything. He's only taken. He's taking your playoff chances away. He's taking your money away. He's taking your running back away. He's taking nothing.
The Cowboys could do anything they want to fucking do if they wanted to do it. Because if they did, when he was after his rookie year getting $680,000, not 1 year, not 2 years, but 3 years, in the third year at $2 million. If they wanted to win, they would have brought in free agents. And
Mark, here's the problem with the Cowboys. They hang out in the middle of mediocrity.
Yes, they
don't. You're either all in. Now look at what the Eagles.
But their problems are of their own making.
Look at
hold on. Their problems of their own making. You can blame Dak Prescott and his contract, but you can turn around and look at every single one of them that they do. Everybody in the top 15 in Micah Parsons' draft already has their next contract. They should have got that shit done last year and made it cost effective. They should have done the same thing with CD Lamb, and they won't do it with Deron Bland, and they won't do it with Tyler Smith. You think their price is going to go down next year? No, but they will wait and keep hamstringing themselves because they like to be in the fucking spotlight with, we're going to trade Dak, we're going to trade Micah, or will they sign him? It's all a game.
I just had Jimmy Johnson on 2 days ago. Okay.
Shout out to Jimmy.
I just texted him. It's true. The Browns are trying to trade for Dak.
You got to have two to dance.
Okay. I mean,
to me,
Mark.
To me,
okay. I tell you what. If it happens, it happens. I don't believe it until it happens.
Everything Mark is saying sounds like reasons why they should trade Dak. Then
correct.
That's what I'm not understanding.
Mark, start over.
Okay, I hear you. I
mean,
because if you're not going to go out and pay guys and do everything you can do for Dak Prescott right at 31, whatever old he is, then you might as well get rid of him and then start rebuilding with a younger kid that gives you time to put stuff together through the draft. I don't understand, based upon what you're saying their philosophy is for that team, why would you keep them then? You might as well trade them.
Let me ask you this, Mark. How close do you think at full force, full health, how close do you think you are to the Eagles right now?
Well, the Eagles, how many, was it 9 guys you let go?
12.
12 guys. 12 guys. And that's not going to be the same team next year. I'm not saying that they're not a great team, because you have great players on that defensive line and your offensive line. And that's where a team needs to be built. But I do know that Dak is having relatively good in our division without doing anything to help him. The bottom line is the Cowboys have to go ahead and make moves for legitimate players. You can't just say we got Dak, CD, and Micah Parsons and think you're going to win a Super Bowl. With or without Sador Sanders, you've got to get some other playmakers to go with them. Or you've got to hit lights out in the draft. Your first 3 players all have to be impact, and I don't see that happening.
Do you think the Eagles take a step back, Mark?
I do.
What about you,
Philly? Hangover is real.
No, I think we're going to repeat. I mean, listen, I don't think right now you can say we're as deep as we were a year ago. I mean, we've lost some guys, but everything that they've done besides the one C.J. Gardner-Johnson thing that I still don't understand, everything was planned a year in advance. We all knew this was going to happen. There's nobody that they've lost that we didn't think was going to happen, except for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And I think that if you look at the guys that we got, I think that they're going to be able to make up for the numbers of a Josh Sweat, of a Milton Williams. I think we've got the young guys behind those guys. They played very well down the stretch. They played well in the Super Bowl. And I think, it might take, a little bit of time for those guys to play. But I don't think there's anybody we haven't replaced except for C.J. Gardner-Johnson at this point. To me, that's the one that I don't understand. Everything else, we're good to go, man. I think we're good to go.
Let me show you something here on what made Jimmy Johnson's Cowboy team so great, though. I just brought this up with Xander. Okay, who's replacing Oren Burks, Fred Johnson, Isaiah Rodgers, and Tyler Steen in their roles? All of those guys played north of 500 reps, and get this, they've all left to be starters on other places. The depth level that you had last year, 500, was that those players like Oren Burks could step in for Nakobe, and there were no drop-off. You have unproven at starter and unproven at backup in those respective roles. Everybody knew last year their role. They did. Now, you're sitting here on March 26th. You're not only talking about your front of your roster, you're talking about the back end and the bottom 10% of your roster that you see these guys they brought in, those guys can't be your frontline guys. They have to be your bottom end guys in your roster.
They don't have to be. But I got a lot of picks that are ready to replace some of these guys. They've got to go out and prove it. But everything that the Eagles did was pretty much calculated more than a year ago, Sills. And here's the thing. You're talking about March 26th playing. They're not playing Sunday. It's a lot easier for me to go replace Oren Burks than it is for the Dallas Cowboys to go find a significant impact wide receiver number 2 or a real starting running back that really moves the needle. The Eagles got their starters pretty much set up. They've got to get depth still, but we're still in the process of that. I think they'll be able to find.
Get this: who's playing corner 2? Keely Ringo at 87 snaps last year.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a chance. And if he can't do it, then you got Adoree Jackson, who may not be the greatest corner in the league, but he's competent enough to play the position. When you have the rest of the guys around him, I think that they can make it work. And I don't understand why Ringo can't play in this league. Let's see what he can do. That was the plan. It was planned all along. That's
tell
what
me
they
this
were
then. Tell me this. Then why didn't Vic Fangio go to him when they needed help, when Slay got injured, or when the other guy, Q, ended up getting injured? They went to Isaiah Rodgers. They didn't go to Keely Ringo, and he was healthy.
Well, they put Isaiah Rodgers in, then they put Ringo. They kind of switched it around a little bit. But you gotta understand this. If they thought so much of Isaiah Rodgers, why didn't they bring him back? He was $8 million for 2 years guaranteed. They could have easily brought him back. So that tells me that they didn't think enough of him to bring him back. And so they brought in Adoree Jackson, who could be competent at that spot. And they're going to give a chance to Ringo. Maybe they'll draft a corner. I don't know. But I don't think – I mean, we're talking about depth pieces, and, of course, it's important. But if you look at those starters for the most part, except for safety and maybe that corner, the Eagles are set to go, man. I think we're going to be fine.
Mark, what's the biggest concern outside of the quarterback conversation right now, in your opinion, for the Cowboys to try to get up into the room? Because I think it's Washington – and I think it's Philadelphia in the East right now. That's the teams that you have to get into the conversation with. In your opinion, what's the biggest concern right now for Dallas?
Well, first of all, let me say that the Cowboys did beat the Commanders one time this past season. And the Cowboys with Dak Prescott has been pretty good in our division. The Cowboys will be better if they are just healthier, first of all. Second thing, the big concern is the Cowboys need more playmakers. You can't just go into the season saying, we got CeeDee Lamb. You got to get the running game better than Miles Sanders. And actually, let me go ahead and just make it easy for you guys, because let me just say the Cowboys suck. The owner is terrible. The GM is ass, that they haven't done anything, and we're just going to be awful. Does that make y'all feel better?
I agree.
And then I want you to, I don't want you to surrender like that. I want you to
well, that's isn't that why I'm here? Aren't I here for comic relief?
I agree because relying on Dak's record in the past for the NFC East isn't a good enough reason to assume that
I would really do. Can we honestly look and say that the Cowboys have been a team that's had like 2 weapons, 2 wide receivers, and a great running back?
We gotta do this again.
In 2020. Since 2020, the best season rushing the football has been 1,029 yards. Best running back in the last 5 years has had 129 yards.
Mark, wait a minute. That sounds great, but I want to show you something. Wait. I want to show you something.
Give me Saquon and let me give me a 2,000-yard season.
Kellen Moore proves your theory wrong that it wasn't Kellen Moore in Dallas because he just won a Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl with the loaded team, bro.
You had a loaded team too when he won the number
not
1.
Not like that, bro. Our offensive line. Back it up.
You didn't have a number 1.
We are brothers in arms. We know how fucking important the defensive line is and offensive line. We have not had a great offensive line since Travis Frederick got Hillian Bars. Tyron Smith has been in and out of the freaking lineup. We still are trying to figure out right tackle. You can't tell me that Terrence Steele is like, one of your guys. You can't tell me that. Yes, we've had Zach Martin, but for the most part, the last 3 years of Tyron Smith being in the Cowboys, He had 1 year that he actually played almost the whole season. And in between there, we've had a bunch of guys that have been in the offensive line.
Philly, wait a minute here. How you look like you're just ready to throw up in one of those vomit bags.
You can't talk sense to these Cowboy fans, man.
There's no sense. I'm surrendering to you and saying congratulations because you got the best GM in football who's actually saying, let's go out here and get the best players available that we can. What did the Cowboys do last year for defensive linemen? We traded for Jordan Phillips after training camp with Mozzie Smith. You're going to compare
Dallas
that.
Cowboys.
You're going to compare that to what the Eagles do?
Then why
You're
keep
Dallas.
Dak?
Right, why do we do anything that we do? I agree.
Because
if I had Dak Prescott, I would say, let me do like we did with Jalen Hurts. We don't know if he can play or not, but we're going to make sure that he can't by getting him multiple weapons. We're going to give him a great offensive line. We're going to get a defense. They surrounded him with talent. You cannot say that the Dallas Cowboys have gone out and said, let's improve our running game.
The Cowboys won, 12 games or more?
And I'm going to say they actually overperformed with the talent that they had. And then they
still get to the first round of the playoffs and lose.
I will still go back and say they overperformed with the talent that they had.
Do you still to this day believe that Dak Prescott is a better all-around quarterback than Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Okay, why?
I tell you what. If you take Jalen Hurts and you put him on Cincinnati, are they winning the Super Bowl?
Cincinnati?
You put him on Cincinnati. You think they're winning the Super Bowl?
I don't know that Cincinnati's got that great of a roster anyways.
Would you say that he's better than Joe Burrow?
Hell no.
Okay. Would you if you put Jalen Hurts on
if you put
Baltimore?
Dak on
hold on. Wait. He asked me a question.
Okay.
If you put Jalen Hurts on Baltimore, are they going to go to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
That kind of fits his style. I'll tell you one thing I like about Hurts over Lamar.
Okay.
I think he sees the game better and makes better in-game decisions than Lamar does. And I think they panicked in Baltimore if you're ever going to get into a game with Kansas City, if you can't run the ball or have the threat of running the ball, and they do in Baltimore, and you take the ball out of Derrick Henry's hand and you put the ball in the passing arm of Lamar, the problem with Baltimore is they think Lamar's going to beat you passing the ball. I know he had a great year throwing it, but every time he gets into critical games, here's the difference between Jalen Hurts and Lamar. In big games, look at Jalen's numbers in those big games passing-wise. Look at Lamar's in those games. They're all dog shit games that he's played. I get it. It's Mahomes.
How about this one? If you put Jalen Hurts on the Cowboys, are they winning the Super Bowl?
Hell no.
If you put Dak Prescott on,
if I put Joe Burrow in Dallas, they're not winning it.
Thank you. Then you've made my argument that it's not Dak Prescott.
I never.
You made the argument that it's not Dak Prescott. It's the fucking team sucks.
Okay, then why keep him?
Because he's the thing that keeps you relevant at the moment.
I don't want to be relevant. I want to be good.
Oh, apparently. Well, then ask Jerry that one because he's been doing the same stupid shit for 30 years.
I think that
he's been doing this for 30 years. Other teams. So if you take Washington, they look at it and said, "Hey, we went to the NFC Championship game. What can we do to get better? Let's make a trade for Debo."
Here's what I'll say.
They've gone out and they at least signed Michael Gallup. They are trying to get better. They're not saying we're good this year. We're just going to roll the dice next year and see if we can get the Super Bowl. The Cowboys don't do that.
If you put Dak Prescott on the Eagles, he doesn't win the Super Bowl. They do not win a Super Bowl. They cannot beat Kansas City that game. They do not win that game where Barkley's not running the ball right. Barkley didn't have 100+ yards. They shut him down. You had to beat him with the arm. Dak does not win that game. That's the difference. Dak may not have the roster right now, but if you look at a few years ago, Dak's had some really good rosters where he's been a number one seed, where he's been a number 2 seed, and then he loses.
Philly, I'm going to tell you why Dak wins the Super Bowl in Philly, and I'll tell you why.
I don't believe he does.
They wouldn't put the ball in his hands to have the critical decisions to make the turnover. They're going to put it in Barkley's hands like they did all year long
Except for the Super Bowl, right? What happened in the Super Bowl?
They're going to manage
what happened in the Super Bowl?
But Philly, that guy is not going to win week to week throwing the ball in Philly.
He averaged 21 passes a game all season.
In the 2 biggest games of his career, he threw the ball just fine. When the big moments are, he throws the ball just fine. Look, look. How many yards did Barkley have in the Super Bowl? Barkley didn't.
But you know what? But here's the thing, though. But see, no. I'm not going to let you have that one, because the reason why was because Kansas City came out and they said, we're not going to let Barkley beat him. They came out there and they said, our number one thing is going to stop the run. They had 8 men in the box, and that's what they went for. Now, if you got single coverage out there with the receivers, he stepped up and did the thing. But here's the thing. Ain't nobody been scared of the Cowboys running game.
Well, what about the years
literally,
that they were
it's either
scared?
you win because of Dak Prescott's arm, or you lose because of Dak Prescott's arm.
What about the years
you
they
have
Zeke
more
was one
things
of the best
to draw from? Where yes,
do you
that
remember
game
when Zeke was good, when they had the best offensive line of
here's
football?
the funny thing.
Zeke,
that's a misnomer,
and what
bro.
happened? He still choked, Mark.
His rookie year, he was fantastic. They ended up basically going toe for toe. He had 125 yards in the playoffs. That game, they should have beat Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, of course, our defense couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers in 52 seconds. But be that as it may, every single year after that, Zeke Elliott went downhill. The very next year, he's suspended for 6 games. And when he wasn't suspended, he was going back and forth to New York trying to keep from getting suspended.
Hold on, guys.
After 2020, he was only 1,000 yards back. He was Miles Sanders.
I agree. Keep that.
I just got a text message from Jay Gruden that it's true. The Cowboys have taken a call from the Browns and trying to trade for Dak.
Of course, they're
smart.
That would be a from everybody.
Be a very smart move.
I mean, you'd be starting over, Mark.
Wouldn't be the first time.
And I think that would mean the end of Micah in Dallas. What do you make of that?
If
do you bring Micah back?
If you trade Dak, then that would be a complete rebuild. If you were to trade Dak Prescott, if you could, you would trade Micah too.
Why?
Because because the thing is you're starting off with Sedor. I doubt that you're going to go to the Super Bowl in the first year. What that says is let's build the team like the Cowboys did back in the 90s. Okay, you start over, you get a group of guys, and you start the process of winning together. And you look at that and say, Micah Parsons, 2 or 3 years from now for winning, he's going to start being on the tail end side of his career.
Okay.
How old is that? How old is Micah?
Micah's still young, but he's got, this is his 5th year.
Why would you trade him? I wouldn't trade him. I would sign him to an extension.
If I'm going to go ahead and if I'm going to go through the process of not having a quarterback, I'm starting all over with all my picks. I go ahead and get what I can. If I can get 2 number ones. Now, the other side of this equation is the Cowboys suck at trades. The Cowboys suck at trades. They always pay too much and get too little in return.
Here, let me give you it looks like Chicago has interest in Micah. This is really all evolving right here in front of us, guys. I got a text from Jimmy just a couple minutes ago, and it looks like, again, that New England would be interested in Micah Parsons.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would be interested in Micah Parsons.
But here's the reason why that Dallas would be interested in that pick, because that's the 4th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the 4th overall pick, you get Travis Hunter there. And then you draft
Dallas picks twice in the first 5?
What?
You think they draft 2 times in the first top 5?
5 picks.
So you
they're going to get 2. They would get 2 1s, most likely, or 1 and 2 2s. If you did it. Dallas, I mean, I don't know, because you're not Mark. You're not going anywhere if you sign.
Oh boy.
Micah Parsons to a $40 million extension.
I hear what you're saying.
What you're doing in the O-line. You just lost Zach Martin. The guy from Oklahoma has a long way to go. You need help. And get this. You know what you have in Dallas right now? You have a $60 million quarterback and a 2-cent O-line.
I can't disagree with that one.
And a $35 million wideout that you're not going to get the ball to. Why not trade his ass? I mean, you got 2 Mozzie Smiths on both sides of the ball.
You know what the funniest thing is going to be is I'm going to come back to this live stream. Do you want to know the difference during the season?
Here's the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. They got Jordan Mailata and Jalen Carter. You got Lazy Smith and Guyton.
Damn. I knew I dreaded coming on here for it. You know, I knew I did not want to come on here.
That's crazy that rumor hit right before we came on, though. You got to admit.
There's nothing to that.
You got to admit.
Okay.
I think there's definitely something to it.
You know, they can talk all they want, but, you know, and teams talk all the time. Teams talk all the time. And I'm sure Cleveland is calling around trying to do something. But here's the thing with the Dak Prescott situation. If you make a trade pre-June 1st, which is what you would want to do if you're the other team because you want the picks, you got a $148 million dead hit for the Cowboys. $148 million dead hit.
Wait a second.
You just eat it.
Wait, no.
Trade pre-June 1st.
Wait, but you can defer for 2.5 years, half that hit. So it would not be 100+ in one hit. It would be
agree. I hear you.
3 years.
I agree. That's true. You can use the voidable years, but at some point you got to pay the piper, and that's what's gotten the Cowboys in trouble. Is they're always kicking shit down the road and redoing contracts because they screw up on so many of them. It's a great rumor, but we'll be sitting here on opening day. Dak Prescott will be the quarterback for the Cowboys.
I hope you're right. God, I hope you're right.
Philly,
I hope he's right.
Couple last ones here. You're not concerned at all about all these guys you're replacing, plus a new coordinator.
I just honestly think this has been. I just feel like we're going through the process of the plan that was laid out over a year ago. And no, you know what? I feel good about some of these young guys.
I hear that. The plan that played out a year ago. Man, shut the fuck up.
Look, listen, I came on here. We've talked about this how many times? We knew Josh Sweat wasn't going to be here. Milt Williams wasn't going to be here. We knew that, Slay was in his last year. None of this is a surprise. But Nolan Smith showed up in the playoffs. Jalen Hunt actually produced just as much as Josh Sweat did for the most part in the playoffs. So what I'm saying is I have hope in these young guys, and I believe that they should be given a chance, and I think they'll be okay. No, we got some work to do. We got the draft. There's still moves to be made. But as we're sitting here on March 20th, we don't play this Sunday. So I think we'll be just fine. But no, I like the young guys we got. Sills, I think we got a lot of young talent on our team.
I want you to do one thing for me, Philly. Everybody be quiet for a second. All right. Is somebody doing a bong behind you? Is that a bong hit, Mark, that somebody's
That's not
doing?
Me.
A bong hit? What are you
that noise? About? That's not me.
Ain't nobody behind me.
Wait, look, listen, I'm going to mute myself.
Listen. Sounds like somebody's doing a bong hit somewhere. I don't know.
That's not me, though.
What the fuck does a bong hit sound like?
I don't know. Maybe it's Jerry. I don't know.
It sounds like a
maybe I need to. Maybe I need to with the shit you got. I need something to throw me the fuck out.
Okay, so in your opinion, last question for you, Mark. In your opinion, these rumors about Dak going to Cleveland, you think they're full of shit?
I'm not going to say that Cleveland might not have called. I'm sure a lot of people have called and things to make moves.
That's right. That's how.
I mean, that's you pick up the phone, everybody is tradable. And, if you're right now looking around, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are out there in the NFL, as we've seen, where Aaron Rodgers is literally going around and holding people hostage. What I will say, though, is contrary to what you believe here is I think the Cowboys have actually done better than what they usually do in getting some depth. And the Cowboys, if nothing else, as opposed to what they usually do, which is getting guys like Hankins or Linval Joseph or Dontari Pose, guys that are on their way out of the NFL, they've got a new philosophy of let's get guys who should have been playing better than what they have and hope that they can coach them up. When you get a guy like Solomon Thomas, when you go ahead and when you end up getting, we'll see. We'll see if the philosophy works. But they've got.
I'm laughing at Philly.
You can laugh all you want. Okay, it's funny that you're sitting up here on this high horse when last year you were laughing about the Eagles, how they were going to suck ass.
Buddy.
We might be like the Eagles next year and better than what you think.
Golden era of football.
Oh my God! All right,
golden era. Look at that.
The chump is here.
You're talking to the champ.
The chump is here.
You will honor it. Kiss the ring, buddy.
He's got a gold hat.
How about
golden
you kiss my ass?
Eagles football.
Okay.
Kiss your ass. Your Dak Prescott stinks. Your owner stinks. Your GM stinks. Your roster stinks. Your quarterback stinks. And you're fighting for this quarterback to stay on your team. Who's 31 years old, and he stinks. And he can't win the big games.
I hope I was good for your ratings.
You'll never, ever, ever win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. Golden era of Eagles football.
This guy pulls a gold hat out on you.
Hey, you know what? You know the best way to get a guy to shut up is by beating him down. He deserves it. He deserves it. His team did everything that they were supposed to do. They won the Super Bowl. I can't be mad at him. I have to be mad at my own organization for doing the shit that they do.
You sound like somebody's girlfriend surrendering. Will you stop with that?
What am I supposed to do? How can I compete with the champ?
You're 9-5 against them with Dak. I mean, don't act like somebody's girlfriend.
Oh, Lordy.
Hey, dude.
I'm going to be humble.
Why?
I mean, what
your owner's not?
Actually, my owner's kind of missing in action. If you kind of notice, he's only been out there twice.
Yeah, he's taking that paternity test. That's what he's doing. Hey, Mark.
Dude, if I was Mark, I would be so excited with the possibilities of trading my 30-year-old quarterback for the possibilities of a young franchise quarterback. I mean, I don't know. That's exciting. I mean, one team we didn't talk about real quick that we got to talk about is the stupidity of the New York Giants. I mean, here's a team that is basically kept the GM they should never have kept, and he's worried about winning games this year instead of rebuilding that team over years ago. Bring in Russell Wilson, I think, was a gigantic mistake for them.
Actually, I got a little different take on that one, because I think what's happened is through the channels that Dion and Shedeur have let them know, we will not sign with you.
I don't think that's good at all.
No, I think actually it is, because Dion was talking about there's certain places we're not going to go, and I think that's what's been said under channels, that we're not going to sign with you, and so the Giants are looking and saying, we got to get a quarterback.
Let me tell you, I think the only thing good, and I said it earlier, about Russell Wilson going to New York is that Sierra's following him. One of the top-looking chicks of all time. It's it.
They've sent their team back 4 or 5 years. If they don't come away with a quarterback, they're screwed. They're not going to pick top 3 next year. They'll win like 7 games. Why you would do? You know why they did it? Because the GM is trying to keep his job. Yeah, that's what he's worried about. He's not worried about building a team 3 years. You think he cares about a quarterback in 3 years? He wants to keep his job. A horrible decision by the Giants to not fire that.
The other way you also look at it too is they know that this is the end for the current people, and you're going to get a new coach in here. Let him get his quarterback that he wants.
The problem is you have to get rid of the GM, and the problem is that you bring Russell Wilson in, and he's going to win 7 games, 8 games. You're not picking top 5 anymore. You're not getting a top 5 pick to go and get that quarterback. It's very stupid.
This is something.
He's saying, "Shut up, Philly. We got to get out of here."
You guys are awesome, man. I can't thank you guys enough. Hey,
we're taking over the show. You go ahead, Sills.
All right, I'm out.
Take it from here.
I'm out. Sorry. Hey, guys, the champ. I dig the gold hat, bro. I do.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, Cleveland, baby. If all places you want to not go, That's it.
I did. You definitely don't want to go to Cleveland, man. That's like Siberia.
No.
But shout out to Xander, because at least you have somebody intelligent here on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, big Philly.500, you're awesome. Mark, listen to me. Don't hide. I know you're at the local pub right now, hanging out, getting ready to have a shot of tequila here because you're going to have to drown your sorrow after Dak gets sent to Cleveland. So I understand where you're coming from here. So, hey, I love it, dude. Thank you guys so much for coming aboard.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm
I
going to go polish my ring.
I appreciate it that you haven't actually been hammering. I did lose my father-in-law a couple of weeks ago, and my dad's been in and out of the hospital and stuff. So that's the reason why I haven't been able to make it back on the show.
Brother, we love you, man. And I'll tell you
Love
what,
you.
hey,
Sorry for your
seriously,
loss.
man, we do. We really do. And our condolences to all that, man. I know you've been going through a lot. You've been awesome for us today here. And hey, listen, man, we're always here for you. And we thought a lot about it the whole time. So God bless you and your family, brother.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Guys, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
You got it. That is Philly.500 and Mark Holmes. We so appreciate those guys. Great sport, Mark. I love the guy, man. We appreciate Philly.500 as well. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button. John Morgan's going to join us in a couple minutes. Speaking of that, don't forget, if you've ever been injured, the #1 injury law firm in America is Morgan & Morgan, with over $20 billion in recovery for families across the country with thousands of attorneys. Morgan & Morgan is here to help you and your family make sure insurance companies don't take advantage of you. That's right. I told you about the family right here in Pennsylvania where they were initially offered $650K, $26 million they got in recovery. In Florida, $350K? No way. Morgan & Morgan went in and got $12 million for that family. Easiest decision we'll make will be contacting my friends at Morgan & Morgan. For more info, go forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.